So far, these purple coneflowers have been some of the easiest to divide and spread throughout gardens. So if you're growing this and you've never divided them, you are missing out. Get out there and divide your coneflowers. Now is the best time to be dividing perennials or moving perennials or transplanting things that you want to move around the garden. Now is the time. You want to get that done while the soil temperature is still cold. So let me just show you how easy this is. When you dig it up, it's going to look like this. And then basically the sections will just, sometimes they'll fall off themselves and you don't have to pull them apart, which is the case right here. Don't get me wrong, there are times where a plant that needs to be divided will still put up a fight and you need to get a serrated blade. So, don't be scared of, if it doesn't fall off, don't think that it's not ready. When I say ready, I mean that it's kind of outgrown its space or has become a little overcrowded or too much competition around it. It'll tend to clump together a little more. When you have your clump in your hand, you can break off these sections. You can see where the plants separate themselves and grow in these little clumps all on their own. Now, you can do them in little clumps like that, or you can kind of try to part it down the middle and just break it apart like this and just get, like 2 bigger clumps. That's entirely up to you. And what I'm doing with these clumps is just to keep them out of the sunlight, I'm laying them down in this pot like this as I get them broken apart. And these clumps that I just divided actually came off a division of another plant. It really is this easy. And for anyone who doesn't know, purple coneflower is also echinacea. Eventually you'll get down to this one kind of, I call this the mother clump. I don't know if there's a more formal name for it, but there's no more really divisions that could be taken off. I could separate these two, but I don't want to. I want to leave them on a really strong root because I feel like it's my way of giving back to them what they just gave to me. I don't care if it sounds silly because it will be the biggest one and have the most blooms when it's their time. So I want to give them a really good spot in the garden. And I'm just going to give them a good snip and they'll be fine, but it has a better chance to start off from this state than trying to support the growth because of how much I disturbed the roots. So that's why I cut them back. It just helps the plant conserve energy for coming back. Now, if you want to take your divisions somewhere else, or it's going to be a couple days before you can plant your divisions, what I recommend doing is giving them a trim. Right here, this is where I take it. Because once you do that, it buys you time. That's basically, I just bought a couple days, not of sitting out in the air like this. I still need to keep these roots covered and protected, and it tells the roots to relax. They don't have to do any work for right now. They just kind of go on vacation, but it doesn't hurt the plant. I got 9 extra plants. So if you wanted to save these, you can wrap them up in a plastic bag or something that's not quite airtight but will still keep moisture trapped. Sometimes you can wet a paper towel and wrap them around the root. So in my situation, I am just going to use this empty pot. There's no dirt in it, no soil, and I'm going to bundle these little plants together and I'm just going to put them in there like this, and this will keep them nice and dark and moist out. So I've just got them bundled together. Now if it were going to be more than 2 days before you could get them in the ground, you're best to put some soil in here. I could still keep them bundled up, but put some soil in there and stick them in there, and they could probably go maybe a week or 2 like that. These coneflowers, I divided them a week or so ago and I did not put them in soil. I didn't follow my own rules. I was like, if you can't plant them within a day or 2, you need to probably put them in soil somewhere. And we had another freeze that I wasn't prepared for, and I had to go out and do a lot of stuff, so I couldn't put them in soil. They felt a little dry when I was coming out to plant them, so I soaked them in water for a couple hours, and I feel like they've perked up a lot since then. But these are the ones. They're not nearly as perky as they were. They just might not bloom this spring, and I don't want to lose track of these, so I'm grouping them together to make it easier for me to find them. And these are right in front of the smaller lemongrass. 10 days later, this is the one that was right in front of the lemongrass. And, again, that's 2 little clumps that I put together. It's putting out new growth. It just took a little bit longer to start over, but it's still there. So here's one. There's one. This is 10 days later after planting. It's probably a little less vigorous than it would have been had I gotten it in the ground sooner, or at least had it in soil sooner, but I'm at least seeing some growth. Here's another one, 10 days later. And again, I'm not expecting these to bloom this spring. If they do, that'll be great, but they are going to take a bit more time to rebound because I left them out. Here's the other one. But again, this is 10 days after I put them in the ground, 15 days or more since I dug them up, which, you know, it's not what I'm recommending, but I just wanted to share the progress. So be sure to follow along. You follow along, I'm going to show exactly how these perform for the entire upcoming season and year, so you can see how long it actually takes them to bloom, and we may get lucky and maybe they'll bloom this spring, who knows. But I hope you enjoyed this edition of Garden Beauty and that you'll join me again next time. Be sure to leave your questions or suggestions in the comments below. I love to hear from you.